Here are 4 of the cassette decks that I repaired over the last year. I thought it would be interesting to set these up and test them to see if they all still work, or if they have developed new problems, or if problems that I previously repaired have returned. Here is the 1979 Telefunken TC 450 Hi-Com cassette deck once again. I repaired this about 3 months ago in June, and I have not used it since. So this is a good test for the record play switch. Does it still work, or have the contacts gone bad again? Let's find out. Let's use Hi-Com for this. I have the cassette deck connected to the CD player. Of course, the output of the DIN connector on this cassette deck is muted in record mode, so we can't hear anything. But the cassette deck is hopefully recording. Let's find out if it worked. That sounds pretty good to me. I'd say my repairs were successful. The cassette deck still works. And the cassette checker confirms the speed is still accurate. And wow and flutter is below 0.2%. Next is the ugly one. This is the 1996 Pioneer CTS 550S with the terribly dim vacuum fluorescent display. How dim is it? Well, the cassette deck is already on, but you can't tell unless I turn the lights away. I repaired this in December of last year. I have since been told there might be some more capacitors on the display board itself, causing the display to be dim like this, so I will have to check that. But as it is right now, I honestly have to say I do feel the urge to just throw this ugly thing away. Anyway, let's give it a test. Of course, with this being quite modern, it does have some fancy features, one of them being the BLEXD tape calibration system, so let's run that. And this adjusts the bias, the level, the high EQ, mid EQ, and the bias again, no low EQ. And that's it done. The tape has been tuned. And with this being a 3-head cassette deck, of course we do get the direct comparison. That's the source. And that's the tape. I would say that does sound pretty good, but unfortunately the cassette deck still looks ugly. Let's also test fast forward and rewind. And I'd say this cassette deck still works fine, but it's ugly. The cassette checker can't see the ugliness, but it can see that the Pioneer is running too slow. And I did adjust this properly, so this just shows you how much the speed drifts on cheap motors over time. The wow and flutter is at round about 0.2%. Next is the 1980 Nordmende CD 1000 cassette deck. I repaired this in October of last year. I have used it a few times since, but not recently. So let's find out if this one still works. That's enough. Rewind and once again, that sounds really good. In fact, I would say this probably sounds even better than the Telefunken did. So this test was also a success. And here is what the cassette checker thinks about the Nordmende. It is running a little bit slow. The wow and flutter is at around 0.1%. And last but not least, here is the 1981 Telefunken RC 200 cassette deck. I repaired this in April of last year, and I don't think I've used it since. That's embarrassing. Let's find out if it still works. This one has always had problems with fast forward and rewind, so let's test those first. That looks good. Fast forward does work. And rewind works as well. I'm not sure. Maybe fast forward and rewind could be a bit faster, but this is acceptable. Let's make a test recording. Let's turn on high com for this. That's enough. And again, that sounds pretty good. About as good as the Nordmende. So I'm happy with that. This cassette deck does still work. And again, the cassette checker confirms the speed is almost spot on. And the wow and flutter is well below 0.2%. Not quite as good as on the Nordmende, but it's good enough. I would say that was quite a success. All 4 cassette decks do still work. There are no new problems, and the existing problems, I'm looking at the ugly Pioneer, have not gotten any worse. Thank you for watching.